I do think that this is primarily an issue with written journalism, and there are a number of YouTube content creators that do provide extremely fair and good reviews. Mortismal Gaming, Skill Up, Force Gaming, I think all provide incredibly great reviews, and I watch all of their stuff. So I'm not saying that they're bad, or I don't really watch all of it, but if it's a game I like watching, I'll probably look at what they have to say. Like Skill Up, for example, like a really great example, Skill Up shit on Final Fantasy 16. But what about that review was really wrong, you know? And people got really mad at him. And like, that's the thing. And I do think like YouTube reviewers are less affected by this because they have more different, they're self-employed and they have more ways to make money than like an individual journalist that just does reviews written, because you just can't make money on written media in the same way that you can with like a video. So that's like another problem, is that like the journalists that have to do like the written reviews that you see all the time on like Google and like Kotaku, IGN, etc., they're the ones who are most beholden to industry norms. You see what I'm saying?
Or, you know, junkets.
So that's what happens.
Called. So a lot of them have gone a lot more cautious in what they say. I really miss the reviews. I'll name a couple, like Scorpia in the 80s and 90s and Deathlock in the 90s and early 2000s.
No,
because
either one of them.
Those two people, those two reviewers, said what they thought. If you put out a game, they'd skewer you for all the things that were wrong with it, but then they'd praise you for everything that's right with it.
I think that's also a problem with like with gaming content creators in general. Like, for example, whenever I was talking about
death alone was the king of all that we surveyed, solemn his high and lonely throne. We had little and were starving, but this man-made mountain offered us nourishment. Eating the caps and stems brought us grand visions of a thriving world. It was a promise of things to be. This, then, will be a new home until our promised land is made clear.
Porrada.
The promised land is bountiful, a blissful place overflowing with potential. My brethren surround me. We are one, experiencing the entirety of time all at once. Even as I write this, I am on the cusp of transcendence. The script before my eyes morphs into illegible symbols. I cannot stop laughing, rejoicing at the bright future that I know us to all share.
Mano, o som tá meio estranho de um dos lados. Que nojento. Ai!
This looks like it will fit the ziggurat store.
Eu tenho que achar o último cogumelo.
Liza P. IGN gave Starfield a 7 out of 10. I think for a Bethesda enjoyer, Starfield probably is a 7 out of 10. I do. Like, I think it's probably a 7 out of 10, sure. Like, I said it's a 5 or a 6, probably a 6 for me, and I'm not a fan of those kinds of games. So I think that if it's somebody who does like them, then yeah, I think a 7 would be fine. I don't think that's off of the, you know, that's unfair or anything like that. IGN gives everything a 7? Maybe. But, like, the point is that... actually, what was the fucking point? Right. The point is that, like, whenever you're providing a review to an audience... A lot of times people don't want to hear bad things about a good game, and people don't want to hear good things about a bad game. Like, for example, whenever I talk about the good things that Diablo 4 has, people don't want to hear about it. And whenever I talk about the bad things, something like Liza P, like earlier, there were a lot of people that were like trying to counter me and like say that I was wrong about these things. And I think this is a very common trait that people have, is that people want to defend what they enjoy, and they want to attack what they don't enjoy. And that's the main focus that they have. It's not about pursuing an objective truth. It's not about understanding the game. It's about having their existing opinion be reinforced. They want to be told that the thing that they think, you're right. No one wants to hear good things about New World? That's right. And no one wants to hear bad things about Classic WoW. Actually, maybe that one isn't as true. But definitely the New World example. No journalistic integrity. I think a lot of people just don't want to swim against the current, right? They don't want to go against the grain and cause themselves a bunch of unnecessary stress.
Now
No
it's
one wants
sort
to
of
hear bad things
like,
about PoE.
well,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
really like this, but they don't want to like really double down on it because it may be
That
something
community's
people don't
gotten
like.
better, though.
So, like, let's say a journalist loves the diversity in a game. He may go, well, I'm not going to say that.
O que você quer?
Na shopping compensa mais.
That much, because I don't want to
Yeah.
come across as being pandering, and also some people yell when you talk about that. So I just...
No, it's true, right? Because, like, different people have different values. Like, if somebody cares about diversity or representation or whatever, then they should be able to say it. But the problem is that there's a lot of people out there who don't like it, and so then they're going to attack them. And it's like everybody has, like... I'm not saying that anybody is in the wrong for their opinion about a video game. I think that you should be able to look at objective things that are wrong or right with a game. Like, for example, hitboxes. I think hitboxes are a problem that certain games have, and it is, like, objectively garbage in certain games, and there is no denying it. And then there's other games like Remnant that have the best hitboxes in any game I've ever played. So it just really depends. I think there are objective things, but many things in reviews are subjective.
see a lot of the passion drain out of game journalism, and they're really just trying to go for what kind of review can I write that generates the most clicks.
Exactly.
And I guess this worries me, because if I see this everywhere, if I see this in publishers and developers and now new people entering the industry, they don't have this passion anymore. So,
well, another reason why they don't have the passion is because they have to make 7 reviews a week. And they have to play a video game as much as they can in order to, like, think about it, right? You've got to do 7, like, let's say you've got to do 3 reviews in a week, right? So you're going to work 40 hours in the week. Can you play 3 games to completion or to enough competency to provide a thorough review that is authentic to a viewer within 40 hours? And the answer is it depends on the game. With a game like Blasphemous, I think, yes, you can probably hit that game for like 15 hours, and you can get what you need to get out of it if you're proficient with Metroidvania games. But with something like Starfield, absolutely not. Something with Elden Ring, absolutely not. And also, again, it's not just making the game. It's then also writing the article, getting the article approved, editing the article. And so you have all of the extra work that goes on top of it. And again, a lot of these reviewers aren't making the same kind of money that YouTube people are making. And I think this is actually like a huge problem. And I understand that like written media is like a lot of YouTube essays are written media in spoken form, really. But the truth is that I think it's a problem that when was the last, here's a good question, when was the last piece of written media that was transformative and meaningful for the gaming community? Like what, Gamergate? Something like that, like 2014? So I think this is a huge problem. It's a massive issue. And the reason why is because written media, I think, is very important, because written media is the purest form of a transmission of an idea. It takes away the, like, obviously there is a certain personality with writing that you have, or at least that you should have. Like, for example, if you read something that XQC writes on Twitter, you know it's from XQC, right? And a few other people, it's the same thing. Like Dante's on Twitter as well. I can think of many other ones. And I think this is an incredibly, by the way, it's an incredibly good thing. Having a voice in writing is incredibly important. But the truth is that a lot of people don't have that. And a lot of people, I'll just say it, a lot of people can't fucking read. Like, they can look at the words, they understand what the words mean, but they can't really fucking read. And it's a massive problem. Because people are not communicating through ideas. They're communicating through feelings, they're communicating through vibes, they're communicating through implications, and not really raw ideas.
You know, what's the moral of all this? I want to tell people, just go and make it. Make what you want. You don't need a committee to sign off on it. You can always go back and change it.
Well,
or if you...
again, like, and I understand why reviewers are gun shy. Again, look at SkillUp's review of Final Fantasy 16. Nothing he said in that review, I think, is fundamentally wrong. Personally, I don't value the things that he values as much. However, did I say 14? I meant 16. But, again, his review is absolutely true. And also, another great example, somebody's got it in chat, true, Actman's review of Diablo 4. People said Actman doesn't know what he's talking about because he didn't do World Tier 4. Why would somebody do World Tier 4 if they've dropped 30 or 40 hours onto the game and they're still not having fun?
É sério, pagar R$ 25,90 por mês em app de streaming, R$ 19,90 por mês em app de música, R$ 12,49 por mês em app de fita.
Diablo é ruim.
That's like saying, why didn't you finish your plate of dog shit? How can you say that it's all dog shit if you didn't eat the entire plate of dog shit? When the truth is that anybody who actually played the game would know that it got even worse at that point. You see what I'm saying? But he got shit on so much, he made a follow-up video at it. I defended him. And I even thought that some of the things, I disagreed with some of the things he said about the Diablo 4 video. But there it is. The sunken cost fallacy blinds players into getting their money's worth. It's more than that, but I think that's part of it.
make something and it turns out not to be good at all.
So it's like that's why people are gun shy about providing reviews that go against the grain.
On unsalvageable, throw it away. But that rapid iteration to get to some really good idea is a lot better than just being so cautious that you basically creep up to a very mundane game.
There's a term for this, paralysis by analysis.
That doesn't show any kind of passion in its development. People can tell. People can tell. So, I started with stories. Let me end with those 3 stories and how they kind of got resolved.
Ooh.
So,
What the whiteboard?
I didn't even try to do the whiteboard solution when I made
And how did that affect the bugs in the game?
Our Worlds. What I did is I made my own Confluence page called, like, I was Tim Kane's top 10 or something. It was in my Confluence space, and I wrote, here are the 10 biggest things I want looked at this week. And there were a few producers who would look at that page all the time. What was great about this solution, nobody could come and complain to me about it because it was in my Confluence space. My own personal, but public, Confluence space. Also, I'd like to point out that anybody could go to
So he
Jira
removed the accountability from it.
at any time and say, what are the 10 most highly
Valeu pelo
prioritized...
follow, Chapolin. Tô vendo o vídeo bobo enquanto... Não bobo, mas... Tô só vendo o vídeo enquanto eu faço. Eu tava em calma mais cedo com amigos, mas eu quero ficar quietinho. Aí eu tô só vendo o vídeo jogando um pouco. Porrada! 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 Tem uma elite aqui? Porrada! Porrada! É você?
I remember the before times. We vowed for exceeding. We vowed for no. Mother is the one through whom solace. She grows us. We must keep eating them.
Cala a boca.
bugs, and who are they assigned to?
O vídeo é sobre o porquê que os devs de hoje em dia é uma bosta em fazer videogame.
So we already had that whiteboard virtually, but somehow it was okay that it wasn't called attention to. For the combat
Accountability.
aggression code, I think I settled on 2 weeks, and I think it got done faster than that. Great, I got it.
Yeah.
I don't think I asked for anything after that. Didn't go and specifically ask for anything because I realized that I was being viewed as some sort of ogre when I knew something could be done faster, and there was no solution to it, which is why
I know what the solution to it is. Fire the people that are complaining and get people that know how to work. That's the fucking solution.
É verdade. É a real.
People like that are absolute fucking cancer. And the moment that they're there, everything that they touch and interact with is going to be worse. That's it. Yeah,
years
get
ago
rid
I
of
started
them.
thinking, ooh, this is becoming a problem. Same thing with Leonard and I yelling at each other. We just kept doing it. We're like, it's our office. We're shut the door. We're not mad at each other. But this is the way we get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Noted that some people don't like it. We won't get things done like that with you. And let me tell you, I think there were people who felt like they missed out on not being parts of those conversations. Some people would come over. Charlie had his office right next door, and he would the lead designer on Outer Worlds, and he would come in sometimes and join in. Great. Other people didn't do that. You missed out, and I think you missed out on some really fun, active engaging conversations about game development. But that's the way things are going. So I'm not sure I have a great solution other than reminding people to be passionate. But I just kind of want to talk about this because it kind of ties into bigger teams and longer development time and
bigger teams, more displacement of accountability, longer development time, less, importance of working. More blocking out tasks. Yep.
Your budgets, just
Twitter.
this whole game development.
Oh, I think Twitter's a great example. Elon fired like 80% of the people at Twitter. Works fucking fine. Yeah, I don't think they needed that many people.
Trash.
Caution that's rising up in the industry. So there, got that off my chest.
Porrada.
What an incredible video. I'm so glad I watched this. This guy, I'm so glad to see this.
Parte 2 do vídeo.
What great insight. I'll link it to you guys. Yeah, there you go. There's the video. That is so fucking good. I think that honestly, I don't think it's caution. I think it's just people that are trying to skirt accountability. And people don't want to be tied down to being at fault for anything going wrong. Happens to investors has only invested the game closer than 2 years and they need the investment. I don't know.
Eu não sei se você tá assistindo ainda, eu não sei se o Chapolin tá aqui, porque pra mim não tá mostrando os viewers. Mas você conhece o Ub? Nossa, o Ub é muito legal, eu adoro ver ele. É tipo meu streamer de conforto, eu já reassisti os vídeos dele várias vezes, só porque eu acho mó gostosinho. Então só tem um boss aqui. Porrada. 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 Sacerdote do Sol. O que vem depois do relâmpago? O trovão. Cachuga. 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 Yo. Cachuga. Cachuga. Ai! É, acho que sim, mano. Eles criaram o sol. Get better, tá ligado? Licença. Licença. Stairs, no. Porrada. 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 Chegamos já. Easy. Yo. Porrada. Porrada! Deixa. Adeus. Eu tô com mais nível que a área. Mas meu dano tá muito absurdo mesmo. Yo, tá cuidado.
All ingenuity never ceases to amaze me.
É.
How can I help? These runes. I can make out symbols for blood and offering. Wait, no. It's not a blood offering, it's someone of vile blood. Perhaps if I... It worked! Now this is truly something! The apex! It's opening!
O Apex está abrindo. O Apex está abrindo.
Like, I mean, like that. How could I possibly know that if, like,
I can't believe it! We were right on top of this device the entire time.
Quem diria, não é mesmo?
Whirling Assault deals a lot of small hits and can be redirected as you need. It's very effective when combined with skills that trigger off each attack,
How
such as
incredible!
staggering palm. Whirling Assault deals a lot of small hits and can be redirected as you need. Enemies near the target of shattering palm will be covered in chunks of ice. If an enemy takes enough damage or dies, the ice will explode. Enemies need...
Eu vou pegar, mas eu não vou usar agora. Yo, anjo da morte. Valeu. Relax, baby. Relax. Bye bye.
Are these living parts in the flesh? Hello! My name is Alva Valai. It was I who... No, don't run away! Oh, I think we pose a threat. Let's go after them.
Ela casualmente conversando aqui, um corpo sendo sacrificado.
Just look at that view. Oh, to see this city in its prime. This is a dream come true.
É muito bonito mesmo. Ela não tem load, eu tenho que clicar, né?
that example you're giving me is like one point in like a 100-point variable situation. How could I possibly make...
What are you doing? I was hoping to avoid conflict.
Yeah. Quais são as atividades aqui? Boss. Peculiar Fortunes.
make that decision? They disguise it as it's my anxiety, as if it's the employer's responsibility to deal with that.
Porra.
I think that there's always going to be a give and take with that kind of stuff, but at a point where
Yo,
there is time dilation
relax,
that takes a
relax.
2 or 4 hour task into a
Relax.
4-week task, I don't think that's acceptable. Skirting accountability is one thing, but they nitpick others into paralysis by being cautious to not offend the snowflakes. I don't know. I think that's kind of like that sounds like a personal agenda to me, man. Sounds like the same as discussion a few days ago about being outsourced to India and whose fault it is. Yeah, definitely. On the other side of this happening, a psychopath businessman will make other people the fall guys and then make them avoid responsibility. It's a cycle. Yeah, but like we talk about how those are bad too, right? Yep. I mean, like I think everybody knows that's bad. But all I'm saying is that like we don't really hear a lot about, like it's good to have somebody from the industry who actually has worked in game development, has had multiple successes in game development, say the thing that like, I don't know, like whenever I see a bug in a game and it takes like 6 weeks to fix or like 3 months to fix, like I think that's bullshit, man. I do. I think it's fucking bullshit. And I don't think it should take that long. I think they're lying. I think they're fucking lazy. And I don't think there's any excuse. Straight up. He's describing an office culture with toxic leadership in general. Well, I think that's not only like asking somebody to perform a task in a fast way. That's not toxic leadership. That's accountability. Like I think that sometimes this is what happens, right? Is that people take any time that they're held accountable for their bad behavior or bad actions as just toxic behavior. No, sometimes whenever other people are hostile to you, it's because you deserve it. It's because you did the thing wrong, and now other people are suffering because of you. Yeah, do your job is toxic. Get the fuck out of here. Rax today talked about implementing a small change in a Blizzard game. Takes weeks due to multi-platform approval, even if the development itself might only take a day. Really? Okay, that's not true, because look at World of Warcraft. It's only on PC, and they take weeks and probably years to fix problems. How many years...
I'm 2,500 frames per second of explosive cinema.
Was Razorgore the Untamed spawning extra ads after he died? 5 years? Get the fuck out of here. No, it had nothing to do with multi-platform. It's again, Blizzard, it's just like this example. Always obfuscating. Always, oh, well, that's not really what the problem... No. There's always a fucking excuse. Seems pretty clear you haven't worked in a large corporation in a while. So what's your argument? If you worked in a large corporation where there was a lot of bloat and people being hired to do no work, then you would understand that bloat and people being hired to do no work is acceptable. I don't need to be in a corporation. I'm the fucking customer. I don't need to be a fucking expert in making software to see that having to wait 3 months for a simple bug fix is fucking ridiculous. Enterprise developer, pull me up. Give me a second. Let me look at what you've got to say. What do you want? What do you want? You've been following for 3 years. Come on. Let's go. Pretty obvious. I haven't worked in a big corporation before. No, I haven't. I worked in the government. And you know what? There were a lot of things in the government that could have been done faster. And do you know why they weren't done? It's because people weren't working. They went to work, and they weren't working. It's just corporate development. You have 10 engineers and 20 managers. What's the point? The flip side is project managers who serve no purpose other than constantly asking, is it done yet? And not understanding what it actually takes to get something simple done. And do you remember what I said about why I would never make a game? It's because I don't know how to code a game. And I don't think that I could accurately tell people what to do and be in a leadership role without having any understanding of what I'm doing. 2 managers for every engineer. So it happens regularly. So project's a mess. Report an error or an issue with the game. You have to wait for 3 layers of approval. I don't think anybody's debating that. I think that's actually the point that I'm making. Like, that's the entire point that I'm making. You're right. That's the thing. Yes, you're totally right. He's just saying why it takes so long. Yeah, for sure. I don't think that's the only reason. I think some of them are fucking lazy too. Like, I'm not going to accept that all of them are actually super fucking motivated and they show up to work on time and they want to do their job and, like, it's all the upper management's fault. I don't think it's all. That sounds like bullshit to me. but I understand that it's a group effort to fail. The set approval and the engineer didn't want to work. Yeah. What I'm saying is management sucks most of the time. I can fix it in 10 minutes, but I still have to wait for manager to approve something and to be at the same point. You're right. And this is what I said before about being like AAA games being too big to succeed. It's because like AAA games take so long to turn the ship and to be able to move around and actually like screw up, at least to start the fucking task, working in the car industry. Yeah, no, I get it. I understand for sure. Chatter's right. No, he is right. He's definitely right. Absolutely. It's also bad coding, which makes fixing stuff a hassle, and it take 1 week instead of 15 minutes. On a PO or Scrum Master, you don't know how agile development works as one? I don't know. Like, I think every job, every single thing that I've ever been involved in has incompetent people at every level. And I think to assume that there are no incompetent people at the implementation level is delusional. It doesn't matter if it's at Twitch. It doesn't matter if it's in World of Warcraft. It doesn't matter if it's a group of friends. It doesn't matter anything.
Development caution.
Oh, I watched this. The
That
first
video
one.
got a lot of views and a lot of comments. And
Yeah.
I want to talk about it. Yeah, I know the lighting's weird. It is just dark in Seattle all the time sometimes.
I need to move to
Today's a dark
Seattle.
day. So I just turned on the overhead light. See how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did the video on
This is louder?
game developer caution and development caution. And on the one hand, there was a lot of really good discussion about it. And that was great. I loved that there was discussion because that's kind of what the game development business needs. It needs people talking about things, talking about processes, talking about problems, just telling people this is what it's like so you can make an informed decision if this is the job you want to do.
Yeah, sure.
But there was a problem that ran through the comments on that video, and some of the places that picked up the video continued what I considered to be an issue with how that video was taken. And the problem was that they were focusing on individuals. People were listening to the stories I told and focusing on one of the individuals as the problem and not what the problem was I was trying to illustrate. I mean, I can give an example. There were a lot of people that said I was the bad guy, that I was the obvious bad boss, that I wasn't listening to the people who were working for me, I wasn't accepting their estimates, I was yelling in my office. It's funny, I know I kind of said...
Well, like, what? Bro, like, oh my god. So, yeah, for anybody who didn't see the first video, he was explaining why, like, some guy... Like, he asked basically some guy to change the toilet paper in a bathroom. This is not what it was. It was a game development decision, but it was like a pretty low-level one. And the guy said, yeah, sure, give me 3 to 5 business days. And so this guy said, I don't want to wait that long. I'm just going to do it in 5 minutes. And so he did it in 5 minutes. And then also he was just basically talking about, like, how they were being loud in his office, talking about some creative thing, and people were mad about it. It was 2 weeks. Oh, no, it was weeks. Yeah, he said it would take 2... He said 5 weeks. 5 weeks instead of a few hours. Yeah, yeah. And so, like, that's what it is. Changing out the time sync. It's making sure it doesn't break anything. I mean, sure.
We were yelling. We were just having a discussion.
Yeah.
And it bothered me when I found out, oh, people were bothering. I'll shut the door. We'll go do it somewhere else. But the point of that was more of a, people don't want to talk about issues in detail like that. Most of them just want to be told what to do.
Yeah, sure.
That's kind of the point. I wasn't saying that these people are bad. I'm saying the process that they find themselves involved in is bad. A lot of people were like...
I think that you have to have a level of accountability for a person, though, right? Because a person is part of the process. Like, I don't think that it's an either-or thing. I mean, I can't talk about every situation. I just think in general, like, yeah, there are people that fuck up.
Oh, you should have just fired some of those people involved. They didn't want the whiteboard up? Fire. Gave you bad estimates? Fire. That's totally missing the whole point of the video.
What's the point?
And I'm torn because I think when I'm talking about things, I do better when I give specific examples. It illustrates it and kind of roots it in.
Esta é sua configuração. E este é o seu navegador. E agora que você parou para pensar sobre isso, você tem que admitir, é um pouco chato. Então se liberte com o novo Opera GX, o navegador que coloca você.
Reality, and these are real problems that happen. These are real things that happen.
Ai, que gato
But the problem is
gostoso
people,
de dar carinho.
when they focus
Que
on
gato
the
gostoso
wrong
de dar
thing,
carinho.
it makes me think that they're like a doctor who, rather than trying to find out the cause of your illness, you're just being given pills to treat the symptoms.
Sure.
So it's like, oh, I've got this pain in my side. Here's a painkiller.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted. I want to know why I have a pain in my side. I don't want a painkiller. Although when I had...
That's a
Which one of you is a Val blood?
That was me, of course. I am Alva Valai, treasure hunter extraordinary.
Take her! Bring her to Doriani. As for you, I will pay back every drop of Val blood you have spilled.
Vocês que atacaram a gente.
Yo, let's take you! Bow to your queen or die! Hey! Shut You will fall before us!
Oh, oh.
Hey! Sharp is the mark! Feel the Aracali sting!
Ah! Ah, meu amor. Que gostoso. Ai, que gostoso. Dá carinho. Ai, 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 ai. Você não quer carinho? Tá bom, não vou dar carinho então. Bem, então. Porrada!
Bow to your queen or die! Hey! Sharp is the mark! You will fall before us! I shall crush you, insect! Achilles' web!
Não!
You are nothing but a locust. I will kill and take you!
Ela teleportou. Que filha da puta. Vem cá no boss.
I have no room for that. A rare find.
Deus tem mais. Ok, tem mais deles. Raio choque. Agorat.
This actually makes a very good point. He does. Like, he's making an incredibly good point. Because what he's saying is that the people that are making these decisions, it's not, and like he's right that it's not just individuals. Like, I think that it is individuals as well. But, like, these people are also a product of a system. And this system has them behaving in a certain way. It's the same as, like, you know how I said achievement points, like having achievements in games cause people to play the game in a certain way? Well, I think it's the same thing at like, a job. Because, like, how many of you guys have had a job where, like, they added some sort of productivity measure, and then you stopped doing your job in the best way, and you started doing your job in the best way to maximize your productivity measurement device. Yeah, KPI, yep, key performance indicators, some sort of performance reviews, etc. So, like, he is right, is that these people that are doing these things, oftentimes, yes, they are a product of, you know, a bad system. And they're just simply min-maxing the system. Because that's kind of what happens, is that whenever you have somebody who goes and they turn a job into a game, effectively, where you're min-maxing stats of, like, you know, how many are you doing per hour? What are you doing this per hour? Like, how often is this happening? Like, well, you know, a job into a game, and people stop doing their job and they start playing a game. I think it kind of makes sense.
The kidney stone, right after, as soon as I found out it was kidney stone, I wanted all the painkillers they could give me. I was like, get science in the room. I need more painkillers.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, saying, well, Tim, you're a horrible boss. No one will ever want to work with you. I agree there's people who don't want to work with me. And probably some people on this channel who wouldn't want to work with me, and I wouldn't want to work with them. A lot of people do. That's missing the point. There was a problem getting people involved in a way that I think is part of their job. That they should be thinking, I'm putting this feature in.
Mm-hmm.
Is this gonna connect right? Why are we even needed this? Nobody asked me why that AI I suggested. It was needed because designers were blocked on testing combat. The suggestion I added, I thought...
I feel like that, in my opinion, is an indicator of somebody who doesn't really give a fuck about their job, though, right? Because, like, if a person doesn't even have enough interest in understanding how they fit into the larger puzzle, like, that's something that's completely internal. Like, they just simply want to do the bare minimum. Yeah. They gave up their job entirely. Yeah. You can't make people care. Or inexperience. Yeah, it could also be inexperience, badly trained, etc.
It was reasonable. 45 minutes of code connected in just 2 spots. 2 locations.
Yeah.
Through events. An event system that already existed. No unit tests.
Quitting?
No, well, how would this be extended? This code was designed to be thrown out. It served a purpose.
Yeah.
I could do a whole thing on rapid prototyping, and maybe I will, but rapid prototyping just isn't a thing in the industry anymore. And it was hard to get people to understand. I'm just trying to unblock something here really quickly. You will still be scheduled to do the real AI when it's really going to go in a few more months. We just need the designers and level designers, especially who are making encounters, to be able to get a little better.
And this is like kind of what... Because, like, I remember whenever I saw the first video for this and people said, oh, the reason they didn't want to do it is because it would break other stuff in the game. But if it was only done for a testing purpose, then that's not even relevant, right? Because if you're only doing this for the purpose of testing, then it doesn't really matter if it affects other systems in the game because it's just meant as a testing device. But they don't know that because they're not asking questions about it. And I think the reasons why people don't ask questions about it is because it's easier to just say, I can't do it. It's easier to assume that it's complicated and then, you know, oh, I don't know, it's complicated. They don't care, yeah.
Feel for how those encounters will go. But anyway, let's talk about a non-game example. Maybe if I illustrated this with a non-game example, it would make more sense.
Okay.
Let's say there was an intersection near your house. 2 streets intersected. And there were always accidents there. Cars are always running into each other there.
Sounds like they should make a clinic
now,
there.
A reasonable person might go, okay, are there trees or
you need a
hedges or
medical
other things
clinic
blocking
at the
view
intersection.
there? Maybe we need stop signs or a stoplight.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need to replace it with a roundabout. Those are reasonable discussions to the problem.
Not roundabouts. Those are socialist.
People asking questions about what could be the cause of this,
yeah,
and here are some possible solutions. Instead, how I see people talk about it is, oh my goodness, they should ticket everybody who has an accident there. And if you have more than one accident, you just get your license removed. That'll fix it.
Yeah.
Or they say, why don't we just reduce the speed on those roads and all the nearby roads to like 10 miles per hour?
Yeah.
Then there probably won't be accidents because people can stop in time. And even if there are, no one will get hurt.
Right.
Or they go, there's accidents there and people are getting hurt a lot. We should build a hospital right on the corner. So then when people get hurt, we can take them right into that hospital.
There it is.
And it's like, those.
See, I've played enough video games to where I know how some of these people think. Yeah, it's played a lot of video games. It's just the logic.
People think they're being reasonable and intelligent, and I'm gonna fix this problem of accidents at this intersection. But they're looking at the wrong thing. They're either punishing the people for having the accidents, or making it so that the accidents still happen, but the side effects aren't as bad, either in damage, or the accidents happen just as badly, but you've got something there to fix the people. It breaks my programmer brain that people think those are suggestions, reasonable suggestions to, there's an intersection with a lot of accidents. And that's how I feel like.
I think there's also a lot of people, like, have you ever had somebody who, have you ever done, this is like actually a really good strategy, and I use this a lot of times whenever people want me to do something I don't want to do, is I massively overcomplicate the issue to become like an unsolvable labyrinth of problems. And like, you cannot possibly unravel, it's like a Gordian knot of problems that you just cannot even begin to figure out, like, what is it? Like, so it's like, if I have to drive, like, oh, I have to pick you up, like, oh, I've got to pick you up, okay, well, oh man, I just got my license renewed and it's like in the mail, and like, you know, my inspection is out, so I need to do that. I think I need to get gas, and like, honestly, man, like, my phone's not ready. I don't know really exactly where you are, and so I'd have to go ahead and look and see that. And like, there's also something else going on, right? And like, I am so good at making people realize that they don't have a chance to get me to do anything. Like, but procrastinate? Yes, like, I will put up the biggest smoke screen just so I can not move. I just want to sit there. Obfuscation, yes. Well, I can't do that, you see, because the microwave doesn't work. So, like, because like, now I've got to go to Home Depot, and I've got to figure out this microwave situation because, like, you know, in the morning, right? Because, like, I read a study that said that you had to eat things in the morning. And so, like, you turn something totally around on them where, like, at the end of the day, all they wanted you to do was help move a sofa. But now they have to hear about your microwave. And so you punish them by even beginning to think that they could ask for they could ask you to do something. You punish them by making them listen to like a 25-minute story. Yeah, tell a fucking story, exactly. Yeah, how to alienate everyone ever. Well, sometimes it doesn't work though, and they keep coming back, and that's the worst part. Now, also another strategy I used to use is that somebody would ask me to do something, and I would think about the timeliness of what the ask was, and I would respond to them slightly outside of the range in which that it was acceptable or they needed to have this thing done, which would make them think that I gave a shit. I just didn't see the message. But the truth is, I didn't give a shit, and I did see the message. So that way, it, you know, they're not upset at me, but I also didn't have to do anything either.
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you...
I would especially do this in Warcraft, for example. Like, whenever I would raid, sometimes I wouldn't want to do the beginning bosses because I already had all the loot from them. So I would put myself on standby, and I would log on. I'd tell people, oh, I'm here, but put me on standby. They're like, okay. And I said, you know, call me if you need me. Well, they call me, and then as soon as I see they call me, I pull up one of their streams on incognito mode on my phone, or sorry, on my computer. Actually, at the time, I didn't have the phone incognito or anything. I would pull it up, and I would wait for them to try to get a response back from me. And then as soon as I saw them swap somebody else in and the person was summoned inside the raid, then I would respond. I would be like, oh, yeah, guys, I was in the bathroom. Like, yeah, what do you need? I'm all here for the team. Meanwhile, I've actually just been sitting there watching porn for the past 30 minutes, and I knew everything that was happening. Like, I'm on an alt right now. I'm literally playing the game. I'm just on an alt. I'm just farming a boss on an alt. Like, because fuck them. And so I would do this for, like, literally years. And eventually they kicked me out of the raiding team. But it took a long time for them to figure this out. And in the process of that, I made millions of gold through carries. And I also got my best in slot gear. So really, winners win. Quiet quitting? Well, but it's like you have to be, like, very good at this. So, like, in terms of... Because, like, I think Tim here might be being a little bit... gracious to some of these people, but I actually think that it's a situation of what I like to call lazy fucks. And lazy fucks are a big issue. They can absolutely be a big issue. And there are a lot of people with it. That thing in my garage is going off again. I'm not even gonna worry about it. But anyway, no, it's fine. It's just that I think the fan's fucked up. I gotta go down. So see, like, watch, I'll do it. So, like, the fan's fucked up. I gotta go downstairs and do that. But, like, in order for me to go downstairs and do that, then, well, like, the garage is dirty. So then I have to figure out, like, how to get to the garage. And then I have to get to the, the control board, or the, the light switches. And then I have to figure out which one to turn off. And then after I figure that one off, then I have to figure out how to do this fan. I don't know how the fan's wired. So, like, how do I solve this problem, right? And so you could just immediately turn, like, a 5-minute solution into a 30-minute problem. And nobody wants a 30-minute problem. Yeah, nobody wants that. So you are the problem. Lazy, yes, but you make it out to where, like, there's just a situation where it can't happen. It's so silly. It's not silly. Not like, I'm telling you, like, this is how, like, nobody can ever get me to do anything because I can always figure out something else like that. I'll always figure something else out. Oh, I can't do it. That's it. Do you get your shit together? Well, I mean, no, not really. Why not just say no? Oh, that's what I do now. I don't do this as much nowadays. Honestly, usually now, like, I kind of got back into the habit because sometimes people would, like, just keep asking. And, like, at, like, a job, you have to kind of, like, play games with them because you say no, they might, like, fire you or something, right? But, like, with people like that, I just usually tell them no now. Yeah, I'm doing the exact same thing. We forgot what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Like, you forgot even I was watching a video, right? The problem solved. People don't really like whenever you just straight up say no. Yeah, that's what I do from now on, though. You have no idea how many people can relate to what you're saying because it's just typical ADHD behavior. I don't think this has anything to do with ADHD. I don't think there's a disorder for this. I think I'm just lazy and selfish. Like, yeah, there's not, like, a grand design. There's not a fucking, a psychologically studied thing. I'm just lazy and selfish. That's it. That's the bottom line.
People are responding to my stories. They're not thinking about what's causing it. They're looking at the symptoms and going, I can get rid of those symptoms.
Exactly. Like, what about the asphalt on the road?
And
what about the signage?
To put it in another non-game development analogy, let me tell you how I think of this channel, this whole channel, every topic, every time I start and talk, this is what I'm thinking. I feel like I'm walking around a dark warehouse, and I've got a flashlight, and I'm pointing at things in the warehouse, and I'm going, oh, look there. See those boxes? I want people to see them. I want to be aware of what it is they're seeing. And then if it's an issue, maybe they can have some ideas of how to fix it. Now, good suggestions would be, hey, I didn't get a good perspective on those boxes. Can you stand in a different place and illuminate them? Perfectly reasonable answer. Or, hey, I have some ideas of where you should go in the warehouse. Some places that need the light shown. So we can talk about that thing.
Sure.
Perfectly reasonable suggestions. Instead, I get comments like, well, I get the, oh, you're stupid. I get that worded in many different ways.
I don't think this is something. I don't think that that's his fault.
YouTube Premium é o YouTube sem anúncios, com o YouTube Music num só app.
Or buy a bigger flashlight, you loser. Which I don't get why anybody would say that. Or we'll just turn off the flashlight. Now there's no problems anymore. People have basically suggested things of rather than fixing the problem, they're making the problem not visible anymore.
Yeah, it's like there was one time I threw up on the floor and I put a magazine over it. And I also want to go ahead and dispel a rumor. There are people who say if you ignore your problems, they won't go away. That's completely not true. Okay? That is totally not true. If you ignore your problems, a lot of them will 100% go away. Like this is one of my best leadership bits of advice, especially for Warcraft guilds, is whenever two members have a problem with each other in the guild, I tell them I'm going to deal with it, and then I don't do anything. And 9 times out of 10, I never hear about this problem ever again. Yeah, I just straight up lie to them. And it works. What's dumb logic comparing games to life? Oh, it's people.
And then some people even go, we should just leave the warehouse. You should go to the indie warehouse next door. We don't have those problems. And I'm like, okay, but can you not see that there's still a big warehouse?
Teeth? Oh, you're right. That's a good point. Yeah, the problem was my teeth. I ignored them, and then they went away.
With people bumping around in the dark and having problems. Going to the new warehouse doesn't fix the old warehouse. I understand some of you are like, look, I didn't build this warehouse. I don't know how to fix the warehouse problems. I'm going to go over to the indie warehouse. I get it. But, I spent the last 40 years in that warehouse. I want to try to help fix some of these things.
Yeah, sure. I get it.
Or, even better, point out them so you guys can fix them.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, I kind of want the issues discussed so that people know what the issues are and agree what the issues are and then try to fix them. And that's the whole point of this, kind of. I want, in addition to me wanting you guys to go and make great games for me to play, which is a totally selfish reason, but I consider this channel a place for learning about game development topics and discussing them. And
I think that a lot of the reason why certain games have these problems is because people are lazy. And the reason why I think that is because there are things that developers say are impossible, and then the company loses money and they become possible. So it's just like crazy how that happens. It's like magic. Like, how is it possible that the thing that you said you couldn't do, now you're doing it? What changed? Well, it's because they were lying. That's why. It's absolutely possible. It's whether it's financially worth it or not. Well, it's not about whether it's financially worth it in a lot of cases. I just think that for a lot of them, they just don't want to deal with it.
some topics include problems that exist in the game industry. What I'm hoping is that people will focus more on treating the causes of those problems, and a lot less on just ameliorating the symptoms of those problems.
Right.
And as I said in another video about, hey, we've all got to agree that there is a problem and what's the cause of the problem and then the solution of the problem. That's kind of what I'm saying here. I see a lot of discussion about game development caution. I don't see a lot of suggestions on how to get rid of it. I see a lot of people saying, I don't think it's a problem.
I think one of the reasons why why is because so many games have this like hyper conservative mindset with making changes and interacting with players. And almost every single game that doesn't have this hyper conservative mindset, I think, is better because of it. Some examples I can use are towards the end of Shadowlands, whenever Blizzard would just do interviews with anyone, including myself. Another example is Chris Wilson with Path of Exile. And I think I can probably come up with a third one. Like Ashes of Creation, the game's not really out yet, not really an amazing example. But even like with New World, the developers are very outspoken and they're always willing to talk about and explain what their perspective on things is. So, Yoshi P, yeah, there you go. So I think that one of the big problems that these game development companies have is that they almost act like they're a government and that the players are the citizens. Whereas the developers should be the ones that are on the player's side. But oftentimes with a lot of these games, and I think this is especially true with live service games because they're monetized off of getting you to play the game longer, it kind of creates an adversarial relationship that the developers have with the players. And what that causes things to happen, what one of the things that causes to happen is that the players don't trust the developers. And on top of the players not trusting the developers are always trying to work in a direction that's not in tandem with the player. They're not trying to get to the same place. The developer has a goal that is that's secondary to the player. I think that live service games exacerbate this problem massively because of the way they're monetized. For example, in Elden Ring, this problem isn't as big of a thing because they just simply want you to enjoy